Yeah. Hey. 3-point firefighter, always ready for more. Saving citizens and leaving egos at the door. Another day up in the life, showing you what it takes. Got the hunger, pride, drive, spirit that never breaks. Yeah. Always there when danger is threatening. When seconds count, guess what? We're counting the seconds. 3-point firefighter. 3-point firefighter. Hey, IGAF.
Welcome back to 3-Point Firefighter. Today's guest is Eddy Liceaga. Did I do it right or do it wrong already?
No, that's
Liceaga.
absolutely spot on, brother. Spot on.
Oh, I've never been spot on a lot, but I met Eddy down in Texas. I'll tell you about that in a second. But he was born and raised in Houston. Now he started volunteering early in 2015, and the fire bug bit him hard, and he was hired by Houston. I think it was 2018. He worked there for 2 years, and then shit level politics, surprise, surprise, made working there unbearable. Now in 2020, he joined, in my opinion, and if you listen to my podcast, you know my favorite fire departments. He joined one of my all-time favorite fire departments with Jacob Johnson, one of my favorite people, Jay Taylor, Chief Jay Taylor, one of my favorite people, and of course Greg Stroud, who never calls, he never says hi, but I love the guy. Some of the best
Chief
firefighters, best fire department in Pearland. Eddy, thank you for being on, brother.
Hey, man, thank you for having me on. Looking forward to our talk, man, and let's get this thing rolling.
All right. Well, let's talk about this shit level politics. Now, as a firefighter, we all know how terrible politics can affect our job and how it shouldn't, but it affected you and quite a few people in a very, very big way. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, back in 2018, I decided to go from volunteering to a paid department, and I started applying everywhere, but my dream job was to work for the Houston Fire Department. And so, lo and behold, the year 2018, I got hired on. I was part of 18 Charlie with a group of about 70 people that got hired on. And man, talk about awesome training from the Houston Fire Department. Just the level of training that they put on for their cadets, the level of training that they bring in, for instance, the IAFF survivability course, just stuff like that. And like you said, the firebug just started creeping in me. I started just getting deep into the job and trying to take every little piece of information that was given to me and soaking it all in. But I was part of the big controversial group in Houston where I got held back. The mayor at that time, they were having to deal with Proposition B that had passed, and he basically said, well, the city of Houston doesn't have any funds, so we need to find money somewhere, so we're basically going to be firing personnel. And who was in the scope of being fired? Well, the people who was going to benefit Proposition B, which was the firefighters. So I remember I came in one day, we were near graduation, and our instructor, she just sat down and asked us to sit down and told us, hey, y'all are signing termination papers today. And that's, talk about a gut-wrenching feing from the very get-go.
Was there any lead up? Like, did you all anticipate this, or is this just out of the blue?
Of course, there was talks among the ranks that that something like that was probable of happening, because they've seen it throughout their time in the Houston Fire Department before. But sure enough, I was part of the group that got held back, signed my termination papers at the field, and then everything went quiet. And we didn't hear anything else. We just got stuck in the limbo phase over there with Houston. So we're just there in the field.
You're out of training, basically. You're done with training, but you're still reporting to the training center every day. But you're done with training.
Absolutely. So while the Houston Fire Department, they're struggling with staffing, here you have 40 plus firefighters ready to go because they combined two different classes, 40, 50 plus firefighters, and we're just stuck at the field. And it was like that for about a month or so. And then all of a sudden, one day, the union came in and said, hey, it's go time. Y'all either get sworn in today, or who knows what the mayor could do next week or the following days. And so we literally had no graduation. We just then and there they took us to the auditorium. We stood. We had the fastest graduation of any fire service personnel that I've ever seen. And we stood up, we took our oath, and literally the next day we were out in the streets. That was a big relief for me, because I thought, well, now that we're in the streets, we become classified personnel. Now we fall under civil service, and they can't touch us. They can't fire us for just any other reason.
Right.
So yeah, there was a small part of us that we felt good. We felt like, hey, we made it, and lo and behold, uh, there was additional memorandums or additional bulletins saying that, hey, now people need to go downtown, sign more additional paperwork, and here we go with more termination papers again. And so at that time in life, I was trying to start a family. I was trying to build. I was trying to find a house, finish paying the car, and all this stuff. It just felt like the foundation from under me just got swept away, just because I felt a mayor being so vindictive and just politics playing so heavily. It's just left a very sour note in me. And
Now you said vindictive.
I just
I'd
thought
like
it
to
was
point
unfair.
out that the main, if we look at the mayor being vindictive, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but would you not agree that the word dick is in vindictive?
Oh, 100%,
Okay, I just want to
100%,
clear that up.
100%. Because there was absolutely no damn reason for the personnel in the Houston Fire Department to be struggling with staffing when they could have had 50 of their personnel, be relieved by new cadets. But it's just how it was. And then it just created such bad turmoil in the city of Houston. I remember vividly one day I was going to go work my debit day, which is basically a day where you work for freaking free over there at Houston. You do not get paid.
What?
It's like Mando.
Explain that.
It's like a Mando day, mandatory overtime. But in this case, it's not freaking overtime. It's you go in and you work a free day, right? And but I remember, I go work my free day, my debit day, and I'm with this crew. They are so rotten in the sense that their very first words to me was hey, you're fucking stupid, Rook, for coming to work. And not only that, you're stupid to coming to the Houston Fire Department to come work after all the shit that y'all been through at the academy. And hearing that as a brand new rookie, man, I was like, God, dog. Now, of course, it wasn't that didn't happen in my district. It happened in another district, in another firehouse that I wasn't assigned to. It was just we were sent there for our debit day to go work. But damn, and to hear that it wasn't just happening to me, it was happening to multiple firefighters, new firefighters who've just gone on a year there, 2 years there. And I found out that it's just been that kind of vibe there for these past couple years. Ever since the previous mayor over there in the city of Houston, it just created a turmoil over there, and it did certain stuff come to light. Yes, of course, you would hear it in the news, but once getting into the department itself, it was just a whole different eye-opening experience. Kind of like when citizens, they see a car accident. Well, they see the car accident, but us as first responders, we see more in depth in that car accident. We know the shit that goes down in that accident. Like, that's how it was going into the city of Houston. People would see the car accident, but then you would go and you would be like, "Oh, this is bad. This is real bad." Um, but it's just, it created a very bad environment for a new firefighter to work in. But luckily enough, I want to give a shout out to my old firehouse back in Houston, and that was where I rookied at Station 12 on the D shift. And I had a great captain. I had a great captain, and not only that, but I had a great EO who never took into those kinds of politics in the city of Houston, and they realized that it was their go time to instill as much knowledge as possible into me. And hell, they even told me, Rook, don't even worry about what's going on. Because at the end of the day, if something were to happen, you were to be let go, we're trying to instill as much information as you can. That way, whenever you go test out to different departments, that way, if you go somewhere else, you just don't go without solid footing. And my
That's
crew, they
awesome.
just, yeah, my crew just took off with me, man.
Can I
And
ask you, because they sound like the kind of people that we need to know their names. So as brothers and sisters moving through the fire service, encountering our difficulties, I love to have people's names said out loud that are doing the damn job. To think
of
about your Jacob Johnson, do your damn job. So yeah,
yeah,
if you don't mind, let's give him a shout out.
so my captains that really took their time in instilling everything they could into me was first of all my FTO, my field training officer, which was Captain Jesse Hernandez. He was on at 12s on the D shift with me. He was my FTO, and the EO who instilled a lot of stuff into me. His name was Jason Powell, and he still currently works at Station 12 on the D shift. He's one of those old heads that he's gonna die with that damn truck. And but yeah, those two personnel, they just instilled so much into me at that station. And I rookied there. That you weren't promised that spot at that firehouse. And so whenever I had finished up my phase testings, which is a three part series in testing as a rookie, which is phase one, your engine stuff, your phase two, which is your ladder phase, and then phase three, which is your EMS phase. Upon completing those things, um, you basically get plugged in wherever they need you. And so I remained within my district, which was District 19, which has four sister houses. And I ended up going to Station 9 on the D shift as well. And one person that I basically clung on to over there was an EO by the name of Jermaine Wilson, and he's a captain at another department north of Houston called Spring. He's at Spring Fire Department. He's a captain up there, but it's just one of those people that he would just sit down with you. He would kick it with you. Rank didn't come into play. He would just dump all this damn information on you. And so it was basically those three personnel that molded me into the firefighter that I would start my career to be, So shout
It's
out to
funny
those two
because
people. Shout out to those two firehouses.
big shout out because it's those kind of people that, like you said, makes us who we are. So I I was on social media the other day, and I was posting something that's coming up, and I had my very first mentor in the fire service, Tony Ochoa. Uh, and Tony Ochoa, I remember actually, it's like my first mentor. I didn't realize what a mentor was. I didn't realize that I needed to look up to somebody for this job, or I didn't know that there were people that were so willing to make you look better than them. So I'm going to do a shout out to Tony Ochoa because he is now a fire chief in Missouri. I can't think of the department because if it isn't my department, Highlander Fire Department, it doesn't matter to me. That's the best department in the world. Y'all can fight for second. I don't give a shit. Now,
All right.
yeah. Yeah, sorry, Chief Taylor and Chief Johnson about that, but I got to go with my heart. But no, it's great to shout those people out. So you shout them out. I'm shouting out Tony Ochoa, but when he gave me a compliment on social media, I was like stunned that he said it, because I was thinking any success that I have in the past 30 years was started the right way with you. So I told him, I said, hey, you were my first mentor, and you put me on the path. So I love those stories, because there's so many parts of my career that Tony, not only worked with Tony for a few years because we were in the military as firefighters, and he went one way, I went the other. You don't usually stay together in the military. You get moved around. But, I started thinking about all the bad times that Tony would be in my ass about the stupid shit I did in my career, how disappointed he would be at some of the decisions I made in my career. But when I got to reconnect with him and he said that, it meant the world to me. Right. So I love shouting out those people because they don't shout out themselves. So I think that's fantastic, brother. So, Houston, let me stop real quick and say this. You have the most infectious, happy fire vibe I've ever met. Not just from here. I met you in person. So I went down and was blessed to teach for the ISFSI 1403 class at the Woodlands, Texas. And their college there and their fire cadre are second to none. I think the best part of teaching, I always say this, the best part of being an instructor is all the stuff you learn. So these people were so on point. Excuse me. They were so on point. I was having a blast. But there's zero chance of me being in that area and not coming to one of my favorite departments, Pearland. So I reached out to my buddy Jacob and Chief Taylor. They do something down there that I think is one of the best leadership tools in the world. And it's so simple. And I'm not going to do it justice when I describe it. So I'm going to try. But it is truly one of my favorite things in the world. I've actually tried to book flights when I've having a bad time just to come down there for this 1 hour of time or hour and a half. But it's called the no rank hour. And all it is every day, is it 7 o'clock, I believe? 7 to 8:30?
Yeah. So it starts about 7 o'clock, 7:30, no rank hour.
Yeah. I tell you what, you'll describe it so much better to me. I've been part of it 3 or 4 times now. It is a career highlight for me. So would you describe and tell what this is?
So there's a stigma in the fire department, and especially these other departments that adhere too much of adhering to chain of command. You need to adhere to the chain of command. Stay with the chain of command. It's don't even talk to the chief. You need to, if you have any sort of thing, just go to your first rank up. And I could understand that on the fire aspect, but at the end of it, we're damn humans, you know. So what we do in Pearland is from usually 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. We have one of the first coffee tables or furniture that we've had in Pearland since building out the stations. But we have all most of the admin chiefs and whoever wants to stop by to just sit down, talk about life, talk about family, talk about personal stuff on how you're doing. Yeah, we touch topics on the fire service, but it's just mostly just to sit down and just you and I converse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing in between. There's no subject that goes untouched. We talk about everything, and we have it to the point where it instills a type of it builds up a type of trust in your higher ups. You know, that you could just be open and just go up to them, and at the end of it, like I said, they're humans. This whole thing about seeing rank and people popping collars saying check out my brass, like don't talk to me. Now, not this kind of stuff in the morning. We all sit down together. Anybody from probationary firefighters all the way to the chief himself, and every rank in between. We sit down and we kick it, and we just have the greatest of time, making jokes, poking fun at each other, just having a good old time. And that's what we do for a solid hour, hour and a half, because it just mentally
Every
gets you
day.
right in the morning, every day, Monday through Friday, every day. It just mentally gets you right, you know. And I think that's missing in the fire service nowadays, because I I don't think I've ever heard, people sitting down with their firefighters. Of course, departments have the chief's breakfast. You go out, you talk. The chief goes out to the stations, and but
This ain't that. This ain't
yeah, this
that.
ain't that. This ain't that. It's literally you sit down, and I could poke fun at the assistant chief, and he banters right on back to me, and we just have the greatest of time. But it we know that as soon as that's over, you know, when we got to get to work, of course, me being a firefighter, I ain't dumb. I'll still give them the respect that's needed, right?
Right.
I'll follow my protocols and how they're needed. But just to have those that first hour, 2 hours in the morning where we could just be open with each other, it creates a sense of bond that not a lot of fire departments have with their chiefs, and I love it. I love it. Um, like you said, like I said, there's no rank. So usually what we do is after a couple sips of coffee, we run low on coffee, and I could stand up and go get coffee. I go pour coffee to everybody in that table, everybody. But then we get so caught up in conversation. I could be talking to an assistant chief, I could be talking to a lieutenant, a captain. Lo and behold, over my left shoulder, I have the fire chief serving me coffee.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of vibe that we got going on, and it's just something that I just hold close to my heart. You know,
It,
to be able
you,
to
I
be able to
take
have that
you just
camaraderie.
you described it way better than I ever could. I love it. That's exactly. It's this whole vibe. It's how you start your day. It's Chief Taylor and Chief Jacobs truly care about their people. Painfully so. I've been sorry, I've ate an entire grizzly bear earlier. I I've never been more impressed with uh, chief officers in my life because when I met him, I've known Jacob longer than I have Chief Taylor, but both of them are unbelievable, next level, probably the best chief officers in the world. But you put those some bitches together, you get an explosion of leadership. I mean, just an exponential explosion. You got it's hard to even explain. And I hope that people start looking up those two and Pearland, what Pearland has. Pearland has a secret recipe going. Um,
Oh, and
and always go ahead.
don't forget, we also have Chief Curtis Burt. Curtis Burt, Chief Taylor, and Chief
Chief
Johnson
Sears.
between the three of them.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I've only met him a couple of times and I owe him money, so I'm not going to mention his name. Right. I'm
Oh
not going
yeah,
to tell you.
no, no, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fuck that.
yeah.
No,
He's
Pearland is.
he's a northern boy. He's straight out of Chicago. Yeah, this is.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What we hating on people that are not from Texas, bro? What the fuck's up with that?
Hey man, it's just as soon as you
Dang.
cross that Texas Oklahoma border, things just start getting weird.
So it's funny you should say that. They call that Texoma. How do I know that? I started as a firefighter in Wichita Falls, Texas. I'm proud of the fact that I cut my teeth in Texas because Texas firefighting is different. Now I know people from Texas are like, yeah, that north of Texas, that ain't Texas. But I don't, people not from Texas don't know that. So I love to throw that out. I got my start in Texas. No, it's a great department, great leadership. I cannot quantify or qualify how the highest quality of firefighter and leadership I've ever seen. Now I have Pearland is one of my all-time favorites, right there with Northville, Michigan. Again, if you listen here, Northville Township, I keep saying Northville Township, is just amazing. They got great leaders, they got great firefighters, and you two can fight for second because obviously Highlander Fire Department is number one, and I'm pretty sure all of us could beat up all of you all. I'm thinking.
I don't know, man. I don't think I'll be too afraid of a damn fire department that's named after a freaking Toyota vehicle.
Listen, these are heroes on the hill, bro. They're the Highlander, man. They're the Highlander. Oh, man, it's funny you should say that. I went out last night. I was in Kentucky, and went out with some family members, and we were riding in a Highlander. So I took a picture of it, and I sent it to the captains. I'm like, check this out. And then the first car we pull up to is a Highlander. So I took a picture from a Highlander, with a Highlander, and sent that to them. But honestly, they're so similar. When I think of these three fire departments, I think firefighters are what make that department great. Okay, now hold on. I know Chief Johnson and Chief Taylor are listening. Come on now, ease up. It's the firefighters that make a department great, like Highlander, Northville, and then obviously Pearland. And then if you're lucky enough to have good leadership, like Northville and Pearland, now, buddy, hold on. Your community is not just safe; they're like extra safe. So that's my little speech. I always love to give it because I'm honest, I'm authentic, and brother, you work for a hell of a department. You know that.
And I definitely feel it. Like I said, coming from a volunteering department to a paid professional department like Houston, and then coming to Pearland. Pearland just has something going on for it that's just phenomenal. Point case, I give you an example. There's always a bad vibe between PD and fire, and it was much so in Houston. They're burnt out. Their staffing is in emergency levels. Like things now are going great for them. They're in the up and up, but they've came from previous administrations that it's just tore both the police department and the fire department. And with that, you would have contention between both the departments.
Oh.
Coming to Pearland, not much so. Everybody works together. PD loves the fire department loves PD. Like, it's just night and day difference. But not only that, but the way that council and the mayor supports their departments, their fire department, their police department, it's just at a whole eye-opening different level. It's a funny thing here in Pearland. We hardly get said no to when it comes to whenever we ask for stuff, and it just shows how great of an administration that we have, and how great of a council and mayor and city that Pearland has, that we can openly go up to them and be like, hey, we need this. If they can't, they'll just be straight up with us and be like, no, we can't do this now. Let's look into it for next year. Mm-hmm. But, we have top of the line gear that we outfitted the whole department with. We're looking into new SCBAs. We're looking into, the new latest and greatest stuff. We're looking into sending out, people to whatever training that they want. And in Houston, you had to go through hoops upon hoops upon hoops to just get that kind of stuff. So working for Pearland, it's for me, it's a firefighter's dream come true. That's what it is.
It's funny because I went down there. I knew Jacob before I went down for this class, but the first time I went down to Pearland, now I heard all Jacob likes to discuss is how awesome his department is, right? And here's one thing Chief Johnson won't say: look what I did, look what I'm doing. He always says, hey, look at them, look at these guys, right? And he's really been a big informal mentor to me. But I went down there and actually to teach, and I fell in love with the place because every firefighter that I met had that spark, that thing. So when I met you for the first time, didn't know your name, didn't know your story. I just you came in so happy, and you were just like, it was infectious. And I was like, it made me want to like get a little excited, and I wanted to go throw a ladder, and I wanted to, do a fucking SCBA confidence course. You're that guy.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there. I mean, I think we knew each other at that point for 3 whole minutes. I'm like, he's on the podcast. I want everybody to listen to the words that come out of your mouth, because you're, and I want them to watch this on YouTube, because I want them to see your face. You're just so excited. You love talking about this shit, and I do too. So you like inspire me to remember the good things and kind of keep pushing forward. So I love that. One of the other reasons I wanted to have you on here was Pearland has kind of a new slogan. About 42 seconds. Can you tell me what that's the name of the slogan exactly before we go into what the slogan means?
Yeah, of course, man. So 42, it's a slogan that says 42 seconds can change the world. And it's basically an homage or a nod to my Mayday incident that I had back in October of 2023. I was trapped for just about a minute, or just under a minute. But from the time the Mayday was called to the time that I got pulled out was 42 seconds. So
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If I could, real quick, so people understand what we're talking about here, and if I get the numbers wrong, but I'm pretty sure on Bob Abbott's, was it Mayday? I forget the website. Right now I'm drawing a blank, but it was it was like 7% of Maydays actually involve a RIT team. 93% were either self-rescue or moved out. Now, there's a lot of little things that could change that, like, was a 360 done, blah, blah, blah. Then I think another stat is, and if I'm wrong, don't yell at me, yell at my first wife. That's perfectly fine. But one of the stats is it's about 8 to 9 minutes just for the RIT team to get to the person. Then I believe the stat is it takes an average of 12 firefighters up to 20 plus minutes, I believe. That one I'm really weak on, but only because I forgot it and I'm old, and nobody could say that because I'm protected under the ADA. I'm an American with disability because I'm old. But anyway, so let's think about those numbers for a second as you go through your story, okay? And tell us about what happened. Anything you want to share about this, brother?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's what I'm about to explain happened in about a minute. In this case, we'll keep it at 42 seconds, right? So it's funny. Every time I talk about it, I basically could talk 30, 45 minutes over something that happened in 42 seconds. So I'll try and keep it, I'll try and keep it as condensed as I can, but hitting all the good points. So I was assigned on engine 2 at my house, my shift, on the nozzle that day. And we were down at admin, which is still in our district. And we got toned out to a mobile home on fire. So I'll be honest with you, that day I was not in it. Just I had a lot of things on my mind, because that day I was testing out to do my TCFP certification, which is the Texas Commission on Fire Protection, to obtain my driver operator, my pumper course stuff. So that day I had to test out on standpipes. So I was testing out on different skills, and I was like, I just want to focus on this. I don't want to do anything else. But we went down to admin. We were there just, talking with everybody, and we got dispatched to a mobile home on fire in one of our ETJs. And it was a ways out. We saw it on the map, and we knew we were going to have a pretty good response time. And sure enough, we rushed to the rig and threw all my stuff on and work our way down to our ETJ. Reports were coming in, multiple callers. We saw the smoke column. We knew it was a working fire. And so I don't care if you have 1 year, I don't care if you have 12 years, you get that pump, that good feeling. You're like, hell yeah, man, we're going to get it. And so sure enough, I was going through my phase, and, we pulled up. We pulled up to where the location got dispatched to, and statistics were not on our side, and nothing was on our side that day. We started off with being in the neighbor's house because that's where the location got pinged, and it was on the completely different side. But in order to mitigate that, I told the officer and I told the driver, it's fine. We can leave the engine here. We just have to pull an extra part of hose, an extra part of 2.5, but we can make it work. And so sure enough, here I am. I had to pull 300 feet of 2.5. So here I am going along the yard, headed towards the house. And I was like, where's this damn mobile home at? And we're looking around. The officer's going out to do his 360. I was like, I don't see a mobile home. And whenever we arrived on scene, it didn't look like a mobile home. It looked like your average 1,800, 2,000 square foot house that was on piers and beams. And we were trying to find this mobile home and nothing. Anyways, it was starting to get pretty good in involvement, about 50, more than 50% of involvement. And we had agreed that getting off the rig, that this was going to be a defensive fire. And we were all in agreement to it. And so here I am. I'm walking along the Alpha side, heading towards the Alpha Bravo to get a good view of a good suppression attack on the structure itself. I want to say I was about 12 feet from the structure, and I was trying to find a good spot. There was multiple bushes around. There was overhang on the Bravo side of the structure. There was a large metal awning. I was like, man, I don't want to be anywhere near this. I started working my way back to the Alpha Delta corner to flake out the rest of the 2.5 that I had, and I found a busted out window next to a door, and I told myself, man, if this is where I'm gonna position myself. And sure enough, by that time, I heard the officer complete his 360, and I knew he was coming back, so I was gonna give him my little game plan of what I had seen in this section for my suppression efforts. And I remember walking along the Alpha side. I just started getting this hot air. I was breathing in a little bit of smoke, and I had came off the rig with my mask on already, because it was just a force of habit. In Houston, you always come out with your face mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So breathing in, I was starting to get smoke and air, and I was very self-conscious because earlier that year, my older brother had passed away from cancer at 42 years of age. So I was very hyper aware of like, man, I don't want to be breathing this stuff. And my SCBA was turned on already, and I just plugged in, and I remember seeing the officer come about, and I was pointing towards the window. And at that time, the sheetrock had already fallen, and I was able to see the rafters. And I was like, man, I'm going to just take a kneeled position. I'm going to just dump all 750. I know engine 3 is around the corner, so they can nurse into engine 2, and we could just drown this fire out.
Damn, and you know your shit, son.
Brother. Hell, I'll even go into more into it. And what I thought was a good position, I was walking along, and it was hardy plank. There was no signs of smoke coming through the hardy plank. There was no signs of flame impingement on the hardy plank. The soffits and the fascia, there was smoke pushing out of it, but there was no flames coming out of it. There was a portion in the roof towards the middle of the house that already had burned through. So I was like, everything's fine. So keep that in mind, because what happened with these next 10, 15 seconds, all I remember was I got on the radio, and everything was just lining up to be just right. I had a good pull from the 2.5. I flaked out the line just right to where I knew I was going to advance, or not advance, but set up in my defensive area, right? And this was just going to be one of those bread and butter fires, man. And I even joked around. I even have it hearing back on our dispatch. I was even giddy. I was like, hey, engine 2, send water. And, I was like, send it, And yeah, I was having fun with it, man. It was a defensive fire. And I was like, send it. But lo and behold, man, I just heard a loud bang. Or like this, it was just a loud noise. The next thing I know, I remember I had my back towards the structure because at that time, the officer had picked up an additional 2.5, and I was going to go help him bring that rest of the 2.5. And all of a sudden, I just felt this immense pressure on my back. And next thing, all I knew next was all I see is flames everywhere. And then I started just feeling that heat.
So were you
And I'm over
standing up
here.
at this time, or were you
I,
down?
so I was standing up. I had called for water, and I saw the officer walk. And at that time, I'm turning to go get the 2.5 that he was bringing up. And next thing you know, I'm in a prone position, stuck. I'm trying to push off as hard as I can. I cannot move this damn thing. So I'm trying to push off with my legs.
Did
It
you know what
literally
happened
felt
at
like
this point? Did you know,
I
like you're like something fell on me, or was it such a startling thing? You're like just basically reacted.
I knew something fell on me. What had fell on me, I do not know at that point. At that point, I did not know what the hell fell on me. All I knew is that it was hot and that it was heavy. And I'm over here trying to push off from the ground. I'm trying to push with my legs. The scariest thing about it is whenever I was trying to push off with my legs, it felt like I was pushing against water. When you're in the pool and you try and kick, that's the exact feeling that I was feeling. And the pain started getting unbearable. And all I remember was my lieutenant at that time. He was working overtime. Shout out to Lieutenant Cade McDonald. He was the one that was on Engine 2 that day. And all I remember was him yelling out my name, and I could hear him. I could hear him several feet away from me. And I can't reach my radio. I can't reach my pass device. I can't move my hands. I can't move anything off of me. And at this point, I see my face mask start to glaze over. I start to get very hot puffs of air from the SCBA. And all I could do was just yell out. And I was like, hey, help, help. I couldn't reach anything. And at that time, all I heard was, Eddie, Eddie. And then I remember they rushed over. I remember he tried lifting the structure off, and all I heard was, it's too heavy. I can't lift it. And then the Mayday went out. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. We have a down firefighter. And at that time, I'm just cooking. I am cooking, and what I felt was a couple seconds felt like an eternity. All I remember was the first initial seconds was just this unbearable pain, this stinging pain on my back, on my arms, on my legs, and all of a sudden it felt like a switch had flipped, and all I remember was closing my eyes, and I felt like I was at a beach somewhere. That nice radiant heat, like I was like, oh man, like, all right, this feels good, just let me hold on here for a couple seconds. And then I opened up my eyes again, and all I saw was just flames and black, and then my face mask just starting to fail. And I was like, no, I can't be feeling this, because just 5 seconds ago I was feeling this unreal pain that I've never felt before. And here I am feeling like I'm feeling at damn Galveston Beach, you know? And so, and then I started feeling the structure lift off of me. And then I remember I pushed off, and I dropped my right side. And I knew right away that I had to bring my hand in. And so as soon as I brought my hand in, and then I tried to fight as much as I could to bring my hand up to my face mask, which is why I have this. I had fingertip amputations because of it, but I brought it up to my face mask, and all I remember was them just trying to lift the structure, me trying to push the structure off, and it felt like it was going nowhere. And at that time, all I could think about was just my family. At that time, my wife, she was pregnant in her, about to begin her third trimester into our first pregnancy. All those thoughts just started rushing through my mind in those split amount of seconds. You know, you see it in the movies and you're like, nah, that's bullshit, you know?
Mhm.
But sure enough, like I closed my eyes again and I just started getting those glimpses that they just rush through you. And one of those, man, bless my brother, man, God rest his soul. And I remember vividly, uh, back when I was little, my family didn't have the greatest means of incomes, and I had to go to my dad's shop to because we couldn't afford babysitters. So he was a mechanic, and I would just be at the shop, and I would learn how to fix cars and everything. And then my older brother, we just got into cars. So one of the memories that I had was just a summer that I had of working on a car with him. But that glimpse, that story just came to my mind of him, you know, of us working on that car, and all this is happening in like fractions of a second, and I'm remembering everything. And then in one of those, they lift the structure, and I remember punching my hand out. I saw an opening, and I punched my hand out, and I grab onto something, and all I feel is a hard pull, and then I felt an immense pressure on my lower back. And then I tried the army crawling it out, uh, and I remember they lifted again and they pulled me out and they drug me off. They said my gear was on fire and whatnot, but um, the rescue itself, it was three of my crew because no other apparatus had gone on scene yet. Uh, the people on my crew that day were Lieutenant Cade McDonald, EO Christopher Wyndham, and firefighter Justin Gray. So all three tried to lift the structure off, and they were unable to the first time. So firefighter Justin Gray, he saw that he was unable to lift the structure, and he went out to find a hose line to see about any sort of fire suppression efforts to see if they could buy me some time. So while that was happening, EO Wyndham, um, he was coming from engine two. Now, keep in mind, we had an extensive lay. We were talking about 300 plus feet already. And he comes and he assists Cade, Lieutenant Cade, in lifting the structure. And ultimately, it was Wyndham and Cade who pulled me out of the structure. Shout out to EO Wyndham and his gorilla strength. He's all of us. Yeah, he's a tall white boy, man, and he mustered up some gorilla strength that day because he pulled so hard on my SCBA, he broke the SCBA straps. And I'm not talking about the SCBA straps that had flame, direct flame on it. I'm talking about the protected parts of the strap that were protected from the flames that ripped.
Damn.
So that's how hard that they were pulling on me. And they told me, hey, Eddie, the only reason we knew where you were at is we saw the structure move about six to like 10 inches, and we knew that, you were there. And it just happened so fast, so fast. And all I can remember was you hear stories in Houston. I made fires in Houston where you're in there, you're in this house, and you're like, what the hell? Like, why are we even in here? But then you have a defensive fire that you think is just, oh man, it's just spray some water in, get a good knock on the fire, and next thing you know, I'm in the fight for my life. It's just it just happened so fast. There was no amount of there was nothing that just could have indicated of something like that happening. And I got caught in it, man.
3 people, 3 firefighters, 3 heroes, 42 seconds, and you all have you thrown off the curve on all stats related to Mayday rescues now and set the bar so fucking high. What do you think, looking
And
back on it now? What?
it was confirmed, man. I was in there. Whatever had fell on me, of course. The thing that they said fell on me was, of course, the house was on piers and beams. The outer wall is what fell, but the thing was, there was something that failed in the structure itself. That instead of going inward, if I'm here, instead of falling inward, it fell outward, but the roof itself rode out. So I was just,
That was the root.
yeah, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong with the structure.
Looking back on it now with the benefit of hindsight, how much do you attribute your rescue to training or the department or the culture, or what is it that you think, if we're sitting here drinking beers on your back porch and talking about it, what would you say was the main reason you got saved by 3 firefighters, 3 heroes in 42 seconds? It's something that everybody may not have been able to pull off.
It all goes back to what you learn in fire school. If you're going to be in the IDLH, make sure to have all your damn PPE. So, like I said, I was in my full ensemble, mask and everything. First of all, if I wouldn't have had that, I would be shit out of luck. Number 2, recognizing that I'm getting hot air and I'm getting smoke and plugging in, because damn near 10-15 seconds later I call for water, and then the next 5 seconds I'm trapped. If I would have never plugged in, I would have suffered such bad thermal injuries, I wouldn't be here. So it's the stuff that they teach you in the fire academy from the very get-go as a firefighter. Now keep in mind, whenever my incident happened, I was going on to 7 years in the fire service. Mm-hmm. So, but I remember that, it's just that muscle memory that they just keep on teaching you. Oh, just plug in, make sure to have all your PPE and all that stuff. And it's the shit that they teach you in training that at the time you're like, why the hell are we plugging in for this? Why the hell are we doing that? Oh, this is just freaking water smoke or bullshit. We could breathe this. No, it's the muscle memory that you're creating. And that I think people tend to forget that it's the muscle memory that we're trying to build in us rather than the training environment itself. Mm-hmm. It's the muscle memories that we're trying to perfect on. But and aside from that, stuff that I did while I was trapped, like say for instance, I don't know who's to say if they hadn't lifted the structure to the point where I could bring my hand to my face mask to try and protect those extra valuable seconds of trying to conserve my face piece as much as I could. Who's to say if I would have never brought up my hand to my face mask? But it's just something that they taught in training. If you're starting to see your face piece fail, bring your hand up to your face mask. Now that was an old technique that that they started teaching you. Now they're trying to teach you to put your hand in the nook of your of your jacket, or trying to find a corner and then trying to protect as much as you can. But this was my muscle memory of trying to get my hand to protect my face piece as much as possible. And then not only on top of that, but just the awareness from the officer getting his 360. His 360 played a vital role in further fire progression and trying to pass on his information to the next IC, because he was taken out of the game because he suffered thermal damages to his gear, and he suffered 2nd-degree burns to him himself. But he was still knowledgeable enough to give down his quick pass down, be like, hey, I got this, and this. I got to head to the ambulance, It's just little stuff in training like that made my success in me being here today. The little stuff that I learned from the fire academy, from the very get-go, even volunteering, sending out to get my initial fire certifications, is the same thing that they taught in my TCFP certifications. It's just those little things that that nowadays people overlook because it's such a little nuance to them. It's like, why are we plugging in? Why am I putting on my hood? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? And it isn't up until something happens that they realize, oh, this is why we're doing this. This is why Eddie is still here today. And I'm a big advocate for training. I've always been a big advocate for training. Hell, I remember in Houston, we were out there training, caching plugs at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm talking, yeah, I'm talking about we had a shit day that day. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm talking about my whole damn crew is out there, the whole engine crew, even the senior pipeman, who at that time had about 10 years. He's out there in the nitty gritty with me. He's getting down with it. And then, you know, come to another department, then you hear all this bitching about, man, why are we training at like 6 o'clock in the evening? Why are we training at 7 o'clock in the evening? And I'm like, dude, it's like for an hour tops, suck it up. Well, we ran our asses off today. Oh yeah, how many calls did you run today? Oh man, we're up on like 7 calls, man. Oh yeah. And all I can remember was that day in Houston. I'm over there at like 11 o'clock at night after topping out at like 16 runs, you know, and then and everybody's still out there having fun. So it's just that kind of stuff that I've grown near and dear to training, because if it wasn't for that, oh yeah, I definitely would not have survived. I definitely wouldn't have been here and enjoy what I'm enjoying now.
So was there ever any doubt? I think I know the answer to this, but was there ever any doubt that maybe you don't come back to the fire department after such a traumatic experience?
Me, myself, I'm always a go-getter. My mind is telling me, hell yeah, brother, you're ready. Like, we could do this shit. We're ready to go back. But then my body, my hand, my leg, because I suffered a really bad femur fracture. Like, those are my limitations. And then I'm like, man, I'm making progress, but you're absolutely right. There's a little doubt in my mind that, you know, and it isn't on my behalf, but it's just knowing that my future lies on someone else to say, yeah, he could do it, or no, he can't do it. Me personally, I feel that mentally, I know I'll be able to do it. And then when I get there as close to 100% as possible physically, hell yeah, I'll be able to do that shit again. I'll be able to go to jobs and, you know, do whatever I have to do. But it's just that little doubt of someone else, you know how workers' comp is, man. It's just that little doubt of someone telling me, no, his injuries are too much. We can't risk this and that, blah, blah, man. But for the time being in itself, I don't even care about it right now. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying being up there with the training division. I'm enjoying being that admin. I enjoy being able to go out and seeing my different crews on C shift, and not only on C shift, but going and hanging out with different people from A shift and B shift, going out into the fire field, being out there with them, training, and of course, I can't be in the training in itself, but you know, just being out there and seeing them, and then just watching the new rookies that come in, you know, it just brings me back to the days where I'm like, man, I remember being in your position. And even for the people that want to act up at the fire field, and I just straight up tell them, I wish I was in your position right now, man. I wish I could be training right now in this 100-degree heat with my crew. I wish. So I've instilled that kind of mentality in me, and hell, man, just is there that doubt? Yes, but I wholeheartedly believe that, you know, I'll get back on the rig one day, and October 5th is of this year is going to be my 2 years. So I'm trying to get back before my 2 year anniversary. Before my first year anniversary, I told myself, man, I would go back on light duty if I can. And sure enough, I got that deadline by a couple of days. I want to say I got it by 4 days, and I was able to return to light duty. So hopefully by this year, I want to try and get back into operations before my second year anniversary.
Brother, I got no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. I said it earlier in the podcast, and I say it now. You're infectious with your passion for the job. I have stubbed my toe in a firehouse and thought, fuck it, I'm quitting. This job's too hard. I can't imagine going through what you've gone through, and you've stayed as positive. I've heard nothing but great things about, from Chief Taylor and Chief Johnson about you, and meeting you in person. I swear to you, you would never think you had a bad day in your life. And I mean that as a compliment to your passion. And you're one of those guys, man. Like, I knew you for a couple minutes. I'm like, man, let's go put some gear on. Let's go do something. Let's go have fucking fun, man. Let's throw a ladder.
Hell yeah,
let's do
man.
this. Let's pull some hose. You're that guy. And as I'm winding down my career and you're winding yours up, a lot of people like to say, well, the old guys have to teach the young guys, and they think it's a one-way street. And it's not. I meet people like you, and I'm like, I want to give more to my department. I'm not winding down like, I'm coasting. I'm winding myself up, especially after talking to people like you. All I can do now is like, I cannot wait to go to work. I cannot wait to put on my gear. I cannot wait to sit around the firehouse and just drink coffee and goof off. I cannot wait for that. So for everybody listening, if you're thinking that the older heads, that's their only job is to bring them down, like take everything they've learned to the young guys. I'll tell you right now, the young guys have just as much stuff to teach you about passion, about training, about love of the job. And I can't think of one person. I've met a lot of people in my career. There's a better person, a better advocate for that than you, brother. It's an honor to spend time with you. You got me all jacked up, ready to go. Not with a pistol grip or a vindicator nozzle. I'm not like that. But I don't think anybody can get me that excited about the job to do that shit. But man, you got me ready, man. You really do.
Yeah, man. Like I told you, I don't have a degree, man. All I have is just high school and whatever I learned in the fire academy. But yet, Pearland chose to hire me. And it is my obligation and it's my duty to give them all that I have because they saw something in me and they accepted me knowing that, I didn't have any of these fancy little doodahs, these fancy certificates, these fancy, diplomas or anything, So my mentality is I have to give them everything that I have because they entrusted me in working for them, for their department. So if I have to learn the RPM speed on a K12, so be it. If I have to learn the bung size of that little hole that holds that saw blade to that K12, so be it. Do I have to learn the eyelet pressures on our homitrol tools, right? And the operating pressures. And if I have to learn my next step up, regarding pump ops and stuff like that, and why we use a smooth bore, and why we shied away from the freaking fog nozzle, which is, why we use smooth bores, just stuff like that. It's because I owe the department and I owe the people that I'm gonna be serving everything because they saw something in me. They chose just a guy with a high school diploma and a fire cert to protect them, to work for them. So that is me giving back to them and trying to learn everything that I can fire job related. So if it entails me being in the suck, so be it. I don't care.
If it entails me into being in the suck, so be it.
Yeah.
You just created a bumper sticker, a T-shirt, a hat. That's one of the best lines, brother.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
And
Go ahead, my man.
Yep, and like I've been telling everybody who's been coming through, everybody from the new probationary people that have been coming through, all the way to the 10, 15-year firefighters that we have here in Pearland. And I made a post that said, you know, you either step up into your position, you step up in knowing everything you can, or step out, because there's people like me and there's plenty of people like me. There's plenty of other motivated people who want to come work for a department like Pearland, and all they're doing is just taking up space, and they're just taking up people's time when you have such a progressive department. And this goes to every other. I see it all over the place. I see it nationwide. You know, you have these very highly progressive departments, and then you have these shit firefighters who just come up and bitch about everything. Nah, brother, now is the time to step up or step out. Let someone else who is motivated to take your position. We're not going to hold it against you if you decide this ain't for me anymore. But just stop taking up people's room. Stop taking up people's spots. You know, it's either that or you join the program, get with us. This is just to better everybody who works with each other. This is to better the department. This is to better all of the citizens. And it's just, that's why I love training so much, man. I love seeing everybody that comes through. And like I said, it's just, there's no excuse. There's no excuses. No excuses whatsoever.
That's 2 T-shirts now and 2 slogans on bumper stickers: step up or step out. I think what I want to do is I want to find some way to make that into a plaque or something that I want to put on the outside of my firehouses. So every time my brothers and sisters walk in, it says step up or step out. Now I know every single one of the people that I work with are going to walk right through that fucking door every time. I promise you. But it is a good reminder that that's our job. Community is our job. We aren't our job. It's not about being in the firehouse. I'm not worried about people inside the firehouse. I'm worried about everybody outside. And before everybody gets all wound up about that, they know what I mean. If we take care of the outside of the firehouse, the people on the inside are automatically taken care of. I appreciate you being on my podcast, brother, sharing your story. It's inspiring to me. You're infectious. I really am kind of motivated, and it's been an honor to have you on my podcast. It's been truly, truly an honor in every aspect to be on my podcast today. Thank you.
Brother, thank you so much for the invite. And, you know, I love being part of stuff like this. That way, you know, people old and new could take what they can from this and apply it into their lives and apply it to their careers. And if they have anything, man, just reach out, talk to anyone, talk to everyone, just soak up as much as you can.
Be like it. Hey, you know what? It's kind of ironic. I'm wearing a shirt about Eddy Liceaga. Eddie would go. If you don't know anything about Eddy Liceaga, you got to learn about him. He's no, he's not a firefighter, but we all need to be like Eddie. Turns out we need to be more like Eddie from Pearland, right? Step up or fucking step out, brothers and sisters. This ain't for everybody. Ain't no shame in that game, but if it ain't for you, go be a dentist.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Stay safe, and I'll stay in touch with you just because sometimes I need to be perked up.
All right, brother. And thank you for having me on, and God bless, man.
Back at you, brother. Good talking to you. Today's podcast was sponsored by Fire Facilities, designers and manufacturers of realistic, built-to-last training structures and mobile units for 35 years. Make training count. Visit firefacilities.com for more information.